Live, Trump versus Harris, Kamala Harris debate in Philadelphia. 9/10/2024 presidential debate, round one, fight. Now, question of the night. Will defunding the police help your granny? Will defunding the police help your criminal? I doubt it. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it real. If they decide to defund the police, you Democrats, you got a lot going on right now. A lot going on. I'm going to tell you like this, man. If y'all don't hurry up and switch your party, man, the whole country going to look like this. It's going to be a wild ride. All right? Now, we do have, we know Trump is going to smack. Wild ride. Oh, okay. Trump is going to smash Kamala out. You agree? We'll get to that question after an hour or so. I think it's supposed to be in 1 minute. 1 minute, we're going to get to the work. But hold on for a second.
Stark choice before voters. And where does she decide to land her punches? She can punch hard. Can she do that while rising above the needling coming her way? But first and foremost, are we going to see a handshake when the two of them meet for the first time?
We didn't back in 2016 when I did that debate. We'll stand by to see that tonight. But the first time, side to side, together.
And I have my doubts that we're going to see that handshake, but what we are going to see is a spirited debate and perhaps the most consequential general election debate we have ever seen, because almost certainly going to be the last one. So with the stakes so high, the presidential debate just moments away, we have the entire news division keeping an eye on everything. We are going to be fact-checking on our live blog. It's all going to be happening right here. The debate now just 10 seconds away, and we will be back with our post-game show as soon as it's over. We are going to toss it right now to David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Tonight, the high-stakes showdown here in Philadelphia between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Their first face-to-face meeting in this presidential election, their first face-to-face meeting ever.
A historic race for president upended just weeks ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last debate. Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special, the most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face, historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome...
I'll get real biased. I'm just letting y'all know right now. If you're on that Trump train, type 1, share this video. It's about to be a hell of a night.
It's away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Let's get to that.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have
I
you.
hope they don't move the goalposts. I hope they don't get on bullshit.
Forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy.
She nervous as fuck. She's nervous.
And the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected for.
Double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up early in this shit. I don't be live on this channel live. Let's go.
Than you were 4 years.
The link is pinned at the top. B1. And I hope Truth Lady pulls up today because I need her up here.
Was raised.
Hello to everybody in the chat right now. I'm trying to focus on what the speaking points. The link is pinned. If y'all got something to say, I won't really be fucking with the chat that much until later.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's...
She's coked up.
We know that we have a shortage of...
This is going to be a biased show. I'm letting y'all know.
And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children.
You don't got nobody standing next to her. She cannot win.
Tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
I don't know why she sound high, yo.
One of them is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses.
The fuck that got to do with what you talking about?
To give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax
throat dry
and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax.
My son about to smoke her.
% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that
get them likes up, double tap the screen,
would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year.
Suck my dick. How about that, Lego?
Ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
Fuck out of here.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax.
I just told you it was a biased show, nigga. Fuck out of here. Go look for that other shit.
Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really
Argentine Rita ain't playing early. Good work.
Countries. We have inflation.
That's how you moderate a channel. Bah!
Probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with tax.
Well, I don't know why you smiling for when he say black people because you Indian.
Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado.
Share this video right quick to Facebook, y'all.
Buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she
and Truth Lady, man. Ooh, I would love you up here today because I got something to talk to you about after this is over.
Dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have
coming out swinging, Trey.
Donald Trump's mess, what we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight,
he didn't call nobody names.
a dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe
More lies.
strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president.
We're going to break this shit down later. Yeah, we definitely going to break it down later, Queens.
To do, as
Queens strong.
she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy. And the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
So far, her strategy is attacking him and saying that he's attacking her.
Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation, and by the middle of next year.
She's nervous, man.
You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in.
And he got a fumbling, man. She shook. She can't even answer the question.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences. Like,
just like she's copying his fucking speaking points now. She was against everything he was saying a couple of weeks ago. Now it's all about everything he originally was speaking about.
One spot run, 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now.
Yeah, double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up, please, real quick. All right. If you don't know how to do that and see the thumb pop up, then go to the 3 dots at the top right. That's where you're going to find the like button. We got a lot. We're going to cover some smut right after
Under
this.
their administration, we are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was...
Look at her face. Yeah, she is starstruck. I ain't gonna lie. I thought y'all was trolling, but look, she is. Coochie probably wet.
Great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit.
Nigga, answer the question. He said Biden kept it in place. Biden kept it in place.
It was terrible.
Why it was so bad?
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now
with the Roe v. Wade bullshit.
There are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal.
Hey, listen, I don't know if y'all know where the fuck you're at, but double tap the screens, get the likes. You're on YouTube now, right? You double tap the screen, then you see a big thumb pop up, all right? And then you take that thumb and you shove it up your Democratic, my bad.
A doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor
It's a lie. It's an outright lie. Yo, B1, I need you up here, man. This is a fucking outright lie.
The crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held belief.
Fox, salute for pulling up, man. You know what I'm saying? I was in the clubhouse earlier. I rarely go over there, but I do want to tap in with you because I want to do a whole interview with you about something. So hit my IG real quick.
To agree, the government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to
dope idea, Fox.
Carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot.
That shit is...
Her husband didn't want that.
Over-exaggerated.
12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't...
Get your violins out, people.
And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a...
All right, stop typing. Don't tell me stop talking. Matter of fact, look, I'm going to show you something, brother. I don't know if you know where the fuck you at, but I don't care about you. I do not know you. You're a fucking letter in the chat. See, I'll just stop that. There'll be 200 people up in here in a couple minutes, my boy. They don't give a fuck about... They here to hear me talk. They're not here to see this shit. They can see this shit anywhere. They here to watch us, look at us, watch it, reply to stupid fucks like you. Let me get back to the content. You're right. Let me shut up.
Sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion.
How am I supposed to keep listening to this shit? Project 2025. Again,
monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted.
Now you got them mad. This is Trump we looking for.
Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came?
Thank you. So why keep on talking about the abortion issue if it's not an executive branch of government decision? All right, it's up to the fucking states.
You have to, because again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about.
Yo, her throat is dry. If you're on that Trump train, type 1 in the chat.
Abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness.
Here we go. This is where the monkey rich come in, B1. What the fuck does he got to do with what JD says?
JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because
one's in the chat. Let them know where they at.
She'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask.
He's always drunk. Answer the poll. Let's go. Answer the poll. If you're on that Trump train, put them carrots or them ones in the chariots. You already know how we do.
Would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of
We're
America
definitely going to play this back later on when people, right now people don't want to hear me talk. Okay, so I'm just let it play.
have not. The majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why, in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris.
Excuse me, I have to respond.
What does that mean?
Another lie. It's another lie.
It's cocaine.
I have been a leader on IVF. which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, the
20,000 Haitians dropped off in Springfield, Ohio. I got that queued up. I got the video ready. That shit is disgusting. And guess what? The gangs in Ohio, unlike New York, y'all want to argue. Y'all want to be, these gangbangers be up on the internet talking all they fucking business. Meanwhile, these Venezuelans is taking over your hood. What y'all gonna do? Am I supporting gang violence? No. I'm just saying that in Ohio, they not playing that shit with the Haitians, because the Haitian dudes come and chop motherfuckers' heads off and shit like that. All right? And y'all think it's cute right now. Wait until there's millions of them motherfuckers up in here.
You should ask. Will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that?
I gotta hear this.
Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and
Fucking murderer.
probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done
Let's get the lights up.
anything differently from President Biden on this?
Now, would you have done anything differently than at the border than Biden? Okay? Please answer the poll. We will defunding the police make your America. Will it help y'all? 76% of the people say no. 76% of the people say, I got a grandmother that don't know nothing about protecting herself. I got kids that I care about. You know what I'm saying? 76% of the people say, I know a couple of gangsters that'll tear your shit up if you take the police up out of it. Man, I did a lot of crime in my life. Ooh, I would have loved it if there was no police. You motherfuckers would have met a demon. Better be careful what you wish for.
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job.
Trump faced 1,500. Man, I was trying to get the Mexicans to give us 26,000 soldiers at our border. And they got to pay for it.
It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States.
Yeah, the number's 1,500. She wanted to put 1,500 that we paid for. Trump said, y'all got to put 26,000 of the motherfuckers on this border, and y'all going to pay for it.
There are so many families watching tonight
who
have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress.
Hey, Truth Lady, if you can't hit the panel.
Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Right.
And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to...
He's a speaking point. She studied this, yo, because she's predicting what he's going to say, and he's not even saying what she... Yo, wait until we break this down.
Actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's...
In a few minutes, Truth Lady.
The interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer.
You know, so where she sounds like she's repeating her shit at them twerk fests.
And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you...
Why are you cutting him off, man? Let that man say his piece.
They killed that bill, and successfully so. That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
They got it on video.
Eating the pets of the people.
Look at her face, like she's oblivious to this shit, bro.
Live there, and this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase: make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there.
Uh-oh. And I'm covering that. As soon as this is done, I'm going to show you that.
He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken. And
thank you. And I'm going to show you the people. And then it'd be up to y'all to see if these people was capping or they telling their real stories.
Used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking
television
it from the city
saying
manager.
Their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff,
respectfully, she ain't answering no questions.
A 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or bad jobs.
Why wouldn't they be talking bad about me if I got rid of the ass?
I fired them. They never fired one person.
Share this on Facebook for me, y'all. And if you're on that Trump train, let's put them ones back in the chat. Let these people know where the fuck they at. Because these Democrats, they got to fucking go, bro. All this being nice and shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to talk to y'all no more. You want to know why? Because the game is rigged. You move the goalposts constantly, you know what I'm saying? You Can't answer simple fucking questions. My man is cooking right now. The ratings just went the fuck up.
Listen, they didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one.
Answering the questions and sticking to the point.
It's a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far.
Double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up. It's good for the algorithm. If you're not subscribed, hit the button. It's free. Don't do nothing. You're just going to see me tearing shit up and acting crazy. Child is crazy.
In fact, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's
get
back.
You got ABC fucked up.
The deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will
Salute the Roski.
authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah. It is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new...
Hold up. Salute to Nitty. Nitty, you heard Roski say I was handsome, bro. Everybody heard that.
Form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice President Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich. Coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own...
straight attacks.
And let's be clear, where each person stands...
Bitch can't answer a question, man. Let's keep it 100.
On the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement, the former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned.
Oh, she's definitely coked up.
34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward.
Where the fuck is the hot sauce at? Can we get some fucking hot sauce in the chat? Yo, do they got hot sauce emojis, man? Let me know right now. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
That we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion.
Real, why are we talking about that when this shit was dismissed? We already know what we're dealing with. It's the Teflon Don. Come on, man. It was dismissed. How dare you even speak about that, ho?
Of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024
Cocaine is a hell of a drug, y'all.
is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution.
A shot, my man.
Of the United States.
They shot him.
Weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean.
Oh, listen, man, you know, y'all might not know me, but I'm from the Bronx. I know crazy cokeheads. I know a fucking cokehead when I see a cokehead, man. Straight up.
If Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
to stop
Harris,
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I
my man.
probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
We do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking.
See, that stock market started changing, and now her fucking ideas are changing.
My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil.
He's still in his speaking
had the largest
He's still in his direct speaking point. I hope he says something about that.
Increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up...
Yo, this is, let me keep it street for y'all. This is like me saying, you know what? I got an idea. Let's sell crack. And then you come to me the next day and say, I got an idea. Let's sell fucking crack.
A middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother.
Crazy.
Who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager.
Oh, shut up.
The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and
Man,
home
he's going to smoke it right now. Share this video, y'all.
builders to increase
Share it on Facebook, share it in your messages, Instagram, all that.
3 million
And
homes.
double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up. If you're on that Trump train, let's put some carrots in the chat.
Increased by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable.
Oh, he got to smoke.
My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your response?
First of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like—
Double tap the screen, hit the button at the top, subscribe, it's free. We're on that Trump train. Get the carrots in the chat or type the number 1 if that's what you want.
nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically.
There we go.
And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace.
No lies,
but
detective.
we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, What about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows what a bad job they've done.
Thank you.
What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted?
We knew that they will move the goalposts, Louis. We said it from the beginning of the video that ABC is not on his side.
Or in Seattle. They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question. As
they clearly attacking him.
Move forward
and
toward another election.
Smoking. Share the video, please, and double tap the screen. That's how you get the likes up, or go to the 3 dots at the top right of your screen. That's how you get the likes up. Then we'll get more people up in here, and we'll have a battleground of a fucking panel later on.
Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
Clearly an attack.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where
if she cries right now, B1, I will be in heaven.
There was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to
Trash. We can see right through it, Louis.
Stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos.
Oh, God.
And to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy.
What the fuck is this cokehead talking about?
Because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
She just lost a lot of people. She just got caught in an outright lie.
Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart
the playback on this is not going to be good.
A course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
See, it was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people They covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you.
Thank you. He about to go hot.
This, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad. It's so ridiculous.
Obviously, ABC News is on Kamala's side. They're getting paid off.
Go down to Washington, D.C., and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say,
Trump, go. Hot. All right. Type ones in the chat if you're on the Trump train. All right. And we got 270 people in. I seen we just had like 300 something. 90 likes. Let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen, get the likes up. Or go to the top right. I don't give a fuck if you put a down button. But if you're on that Trump train, type 1. That's the only thing I need out of y'all.
Say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why
Facts.
They're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm. Lost by a whisker. We didn't quite.
You're a dick sucker. I don't like this guy right here.
Make it. And we
should. A fucking long dickhead, man.
Should just point out here as clarification, and you know this.
Oh, paid off, man. Don't you know getting paid off right now and get you fucked up long term, man? This country's fucked up, man. We need somebody with heart, man. We don't need nobody that gets something shoved up them and change their fucking views or act like they don't understand the obvious truth. The obvious truth is that she's ducking the fucking questions, bro.
You and your ally.
Trump is coming in red hot.
60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
no
Republican.
Judge looked at it
and said
they said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there today.
Come on, David. Answer the fucking questions, David.
He said he didn't say
a real reply, David. Stop getting paid off, David.
That he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election.
Man, stand up for something, David.
That was won by President Biden and yourself.
Hey, you gotta say David in the chat, man. Stand up for something, David. You got paid off and you're over here being obviously biased, moving the goalposts, doing some real sucker shit, bro.
But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, "We won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote." Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election.
If this bitch start laughing hysterically, man, I'm going home.
It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person.
What about Willie Brown? You are savage, open-minded.
Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago.
If he mentioned Willie Brown, I'm going to be in heaven. I'm telling you, Candace Owens is going to be punching at the air.
No, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump.
That's a fact, Brett. ABC will lose ratings after this debate, and David will lose his job. You're fired, David.
We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago.
Hold on. If y'all want to enjoy this stream, man, and you want to debate, if you want to just say something good, whatever you want to do. You want to get kicked around publicly, check it out. Hit this link. It's called StreamYard, right? You don't have to show your face, but you need to show your case. All right.
That if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes.
Malta gang in the building.
They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I
up.
think we're going to do very well.
I told you, watch them keep cutting this nigga off and won't say nothing about what he just spoke about. That's crazy.
Got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote,
Israel I like her. I don't know her name. We just call her Red Dot for short, okay?
Has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead, nearly 100 hostages.
Yo, the Ukraine just smacked the fuck out of Russia last night. The biggest bombing since this shit started. I'll talk about it later.
Remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7,
why she blame Trump for everything? She can't answer a question.
Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis.
Here we go.
Many of them young people who were simply attending.
Here we go with this shit.
Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said,
lies.
Say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed, children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end.
Answer the fucking question. You got double tap the screen and get the likes up. The likes is not matching the amount of people that's up in here. All right? Hit the 3 dots at the top and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to go in hot after this. In the next couple of days, we going in hot.
And immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
We know what we need. The man said that, yo, Biden is sitting around for 4 years. How the fuck could you change that? If you was his partner and he couldn't get it done, how are you going to get it done? You can't get it done by telling us what's going on after he just finished telling you what's going on. She basically just repeated what the fuck he said.
Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time,
and they savage. They calling Kamala dirty knees in the chat.
in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why So many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace.
Oh God. Oh, she just, it took a left. He's going to fuck her up right now. And they're going to hold his arms back. But
That is why we understand
she called
why.
me a disgrace.
So many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
All right, we're a little bit back. We're going to bring it up. All right, we back. So we didn't have to wait for that. That's why I pulled it back, so we didn't have to do this earlier. All right, this is live right now, y'all. We are live.
Live from the
debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years
rigged ass debate
into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 20.
Once in a while, I give people their requests, okay? That's Tupac, y'all. Okay, that's not a man with a bikini. All right, this is a gangster rapper. You know what I'm saying? They got songs like "All Eyes on Me," "Picture Me Rolling." You know what I'm saying? You want me to tell y'all some more songs? This is that new world that they looking for. Okay, and if you don't get what I'm saying, I ain't talking about no jails. They not putting them in jails. They taking them out. And by the way, people, there's only one way to get in this cage. That's Meek Mill, allegedly, right? There's only one way, and that's ass first, okay? Because the entry is where his head is at. All right? We just had to take a quick break, you know what I mean? And if you are in your feelings and you a man, I'm a man. Got something for you.
Between your shower and this, you need this. FDS Feminine Deodorant Spray has powder to absorb moisture. Use it every day to feel fresh, dry, and confident. FDS. Make it your second deodorant.
That Trump train, type 1.
24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to.
Hey, don't get mad at me for flashing those pictures. This is a family show, okay? And I don't want nobody to have any type of emotional damage or anything. This is a very bright show.
Emotional damage. It's popping, poo, God's work.
Don't forget where you at.
Save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship.
You got that cokehead smile on the face, man. I'm not even trolling, man. Look at this. Y'all take a screenshot and expand that picture and look at that picture for real, because I can see it big over here.
And they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him?
Okay, just in case y'all don't know what type of ignorant motherfucker I am. Okay, let me just remind y'all right now, okay?
Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before.
It's this look that I'm saying, that I'm seeing. It's just this look that I'm constantly seeing out of her face. She has not changed that face yet. Oh, I don't know why I'm looking at her ear. I thought she got an ear shot off or something. But yo, my man right here, look. He's cognitive. Like this dude is on fire right now, bro. Look.
Before I even become president, if I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here.
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president?
Ooh, like a dog.
But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the
question,
do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal.
Why you keep cutting him off, Dave? The fuck is wrong with David, man? David on that fucking Yola too, man.
Because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris.
You got they fucking hands up your puppet ass back, David.
So I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as commander-in-chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
You talking about Vance. Why the fuck can't I talk about the president? The guy that's relevant right now. Oh, this is crazy, man. This is cokehead vibes.
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to define
I'm losing brain cells listening to this broad talk.
Most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery,
oh God,
the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv
free to go bomb Russia
right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator.
Oh, he about to smoke her.
Who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President.
He about to smoke her. What the fuck did she just say?
Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting.
Wow. I can't believe this shit. The goalpost is fully moved. She's cutting them off. They're not saying shit to her. Look at this shit. This shit right here. Oh, let me reload this shit real quick. Give me 1 second, people, man. The goalpost is moved, man. David got a fucking whole arm shoved up his ass. Come on, Dave. You went out bad.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my
this shit is rigged, but we about to make it too big to rig. He already smoked her. They could cut the mics off right now and it's a wrap.
opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever...
Stay cutting them off.
...ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate. You're going to hear a
Oh, my God. That cokehead bitch. She can't answer nothing. She's stuttering. Hold on. I like this. I like this. I like this. If you're on that Trump train, you already know what number to type. Type 1.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate. You're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The president of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen, for years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate. And we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, And that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to Black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris.
We're not guilty.
Give startup businesses, javelins, the Abrams.
But she never makes it into the bowling alley. My gut knew this was not.
President negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time,
finally cut this nigga David cut that bitch off for a second.
Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left
The link to join the panel is pinned at the top. I'm going to drop it again. It's a StreamYard link.
$85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants
Simple answer.
to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
Why we can't address that? Are you black? Yes or no? He just asked her. Good job, David. Are you black?
And
double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up, man. Subscribe, hit the button, man. Don't cost nothing to hit the button. And then we in. And I'll be posting the link. Matter of fact, we're doing it as I speak right now. It's going to be on my community wall. If you're interested in joining the stream, hit the link on the community wall. All right? It's called StreamYard link. Are you black?
I'll say that.
Are you
and
black?
Then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her.
Are you black?
That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy
Cocaine.
that we have someone who wants.
Are you black? I'm gonna be obnoxious today, man. Are you black? It don't matter.
Black.
No, it don't matter. But it's a question.
And that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her.
Fox says she's a red dot. You know what I mean? That word has been circulating. I don't know what that means exactly. She's a red dot. Welcome to Everything Delivered.
That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to Black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a
Cokehead can't answer a question.
full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution
Blah, blah, blah.
of 5 young Black and Latino boys.
Them niggas was guilty, man. I was in jail with them. Everybody that was in jail with me know that they was guilty. You know what I'm saying? What y'all say? Get in the chat.
Boys who were innocent,
Guilty.
the Central Park 5.
Them niggas was bragging about that shit when we was in Spofford. Word to mother, man. And Corey Wise, he taught me how to read Arabic. I cut Mandingo's face and went to Attica. That's a true story. Go check my music out.
Took out a full-page ad.
Can't make this shit up.
Calling for their execution. This
Niggas was guilty, man. They raped that chick in the park, beat her up half to death. Come on, man. Y'all niggas was guilty. And then had somebody else that had life confess to it and lie for a bag. They all sued. All them niggas went back to jail, man. Guilty ass niggas. Dirty motherfuckers.
is the same individual who spread
DNA don't lie. Listen. The words of a motherfucker mouth might lie, but a person, see, you're not in the loop. You don't know what's going on. You're just chatting. I have a fucking channel that it says Mac Mean True Story. I can't lie to you. All right? I was in jail with Corey Wise and his faggot ass brother. You feel me? Marcy. Everybody knew Marcy. Marcy was a fucking transsexual that niggas used to be going crazy over in jail. All right? Corey Wise taught me how to read Arabic. All that retarded shit y'all was seeing on the interviews and all that, that's not him in real life, Playboy. All right? So, let's get that out the way. All right? Y'all want to know more? Email me at 1-800-DEES-NUTS.
Birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country.
Talking about the Central Park 5. Knock it off.
We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have...
Yo, the dude said I sound like I'm a Trump fan. What makes you think I'm a Trump fan? Because I keep on saying if you're on that Trump train, type 1. Because I have Trump in my background, huh? Or maybe because I've been flashing all of these Trump pro-Trump support things like this, and you know what I'm saying, like stuff that supports. Maybe because I've been showing stuff like that, that he might think that if you're on the Trump train, type 1. You clearly bumped into the wrong fucking room. Scroll up.
Discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people, knowing that regardless...
These are the same people tampon Tim and want to change your little boys to little girls. Y'all with that?
Of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like...
I bet she ready to take a bump.
What she just said, going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Time's up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging.
Hey, Maurice in the chat, stop typing. Nobody sees you. DMW shots did God's work on you, all right?
The American people, I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small...
Phil Arnott, DMW shots don't really shoot people.
...businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction.
Startup businesses, $50,000 worth of, $50,000 worth of.
To pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life.
Yo, $6,000, man. What you gonna buy? A steak and a couple of ramen noodles with that shit? Knock it off.
To help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue
Look at Trump's face. He can't believe what he hearing. This shit is just, she sound like she's on one of her little campaign trails.
has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by
Waiting for Megan Thee Stallion to come out and start twerking.
offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Now, double tap the screen before he dig a hole into this broad, right? And I told y'all, this is a very biased channel, man. You know, it's blame it on YouTube, man. All right, double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up. Share this video on Facebook. Share it on Instagram and in your messengers. We're going to break this shit down later on after this is done.
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling.
No, I'm going to show you some belittling and name calling. I want all the wrenches to randomly shoot a Biden supporter in the chat. Shut their mic off. Don't worry about it. They'll send more people. All right? Shut their mic off. Show them that we're really biased around here. Just start clapping random people. If they look like they're Democrat, if they give that Democrat smell, just bow. Give them 5 minutes. All right?
Let's turn the page.
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President
Even David is tired of her.
Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
If they defund the police, will that help you niggas? Yeah.
President Trump,
She
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on.
1,000 Mac means when Mac was mean on your block, and it's a problemo.
Other
not allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
Thank you,
what
Mr.
her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
the
President
former-
Trump.
Let's get the likes up to 300 real quick. You know what I'm saying? Y'all really bullshitting in the chat right now. Double tap the screen or go up to the top right, hit the 3 dots. Let's get this shit up to 300, man. It's 158 likes on this joint, but we got 1,100 votes in here. Shit ain't adding up. All right? Don't make me start. I'm telling you now. Let's be nice. It's Sunday.
The president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
gonna
need to
move
Come on,
on.
166. Let's run them likes up, bro. Let's get them up. Let's get them up. You on that Trump train? Type 1, man. We on bullshit tonight. Michael's on that Trump train. What? Rob said, run them up. 18 wheels on pavement said both of them is clowns. We not here for you, bro. Time him out. Give him 5 minutes. Bow. Donald Trump is strength, open-minded says. Mayhem. Everyone is basically pro-Trump in the Chiznat, but not everybody. Hey, let's get us a random Russia for camel toe Harris too. Oh, I don't think that's pro-Democrat. Yeah, let's shoot us a random motherfucker up in this chat, man. Let me know where they at, man. We are biased around here, bro. It's the American way. I should be able to be biased if I want to. Think about what I'm saying. Roski said 3 niggas is cute. We'll talk about that later.
Vice
One
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this is
multiple
now
times.
your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed.
Get the likes up. I'll be obnoxious. I'll wait for 80 of you motherfuckers to leave. Okay, 172 likes. We gotta keep running them up. Running them up. That's what you're here for, man. You're not. Or hit the Cash App. $ Mac Mean. Run them up. Run them up. 177 likes. Let's go. Look at the likes. Look at the likes. All right. Next week, I'll be doing scratch-offs. I'm going to go viral for doing scratch-offs. I'm letting y'all know. We're going to take a break from this bullshit real quick. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2 days. But go ahead. I don't give a fuck if the people leave. Don't worry about it. As long as the likes go up with them. You know what I'm saying? That's it. The likes got to match the amount of people. Okay, 181. I like that. Keep going on with the likes. Double tap the screen, man. And subscribe to the channel, man. Let's go.
Former
Trump,
president has said
no, I'm
something
sorry.
That's
twice
enough bucking for likes.
that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
gonna
need to
move
respond
on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it.
I'm going to just pause the video because you're telling me to play the video. You can go watch this. You go watch it. Scroll up.
So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of.
Al Breezy, I see you back there. I'm gonna pull you up soon as they done because we're gonna get lost in the conversation. So let's wait until they finish talking, and then I'm gonna bring you back up. Now, Cal Breezy hit the link. That means that it works. If you want to hit the panel, go to my channel on the community wall. You'll see a link up there if you want to join the panel.
Good people in that administration. We read
I'm gonna
about
pull y'all up soon as they finish talking.
the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a
AFA, here we go.
previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz
You're not talking about fracking and guns, bitch.
and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the
She from the hood, like this chick on the screen.
continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got
She's all over the place.
caught. He was an
Sorry for being obnoxious, but she's all over the place.
American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies.
What about Trump Care? That was no plan. Y'all could go Google Trump Care versus Obamacare. She said that he has no plan for it.
Companies to deny
This was done 8 years ago.
people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight. You remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny?
I see the guests popping up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let y'all up, Vinny, as soon as they finish talking.
If a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes. And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, We will do that for all people.
That's why they still complaining, right?
People understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice
Past his
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue
Clearly went past 2 minutes.
that's important for a
She
lot
made
of
a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump-
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on.
He ain't getting 2 minutes out of his mouth before he's trying to cut his mic, man.
Where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
The ABC.
All right, let's move it up. Let's move it up. This is why we've been pausing, so we can catch all of this. All right, this is live, y'all. Let's go.
Includes having a
Get the likes up and share this video real quick.
plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David.
She's clearly got smoked. All right, Cowboy.
First question. Yes, sir. How you doing today, brother?
What's good? What's good, Cal Breezy?
Listen, first thing we need to ask ourselves is this right here, right? How do y'all feel the moderator did? We can talk all day about Trump and Kamala Harris, but the moderator, you could tell when he started to lean into things or when he started to fall back from things and the way Kamala Harris reacted. And you could tell when she got to a certain point in time, she was good coming out the gate. She's like a sprint horse. She was good for about the first minute and a half, but after that, she looks confused. And then she starts like repeating things over and over again because she only given a certain amount of things to say. That's how you can tell she's not thinking for herself.
Exactly. So you're saying basically her speaking points are kind of scripted. And what they're doing is going outside of the subject and she doesn't know how to reply. She looked real bad on this, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Hold on. I gotta give credit where credit's due. All right. She was talking some bullshit. But my son, she was talking that bullshit. Like she came a lot better than I ever expected her to. I got to give it that. Like honestly, the way she kept to what she was supposed to say, she didn't veer off. She stayed in her lane.
But it
did good for her.
Trump had the exact opposite strategy. his speaking points on this campaign trail have been the same and almost repeated because that's what his advisors are telling him to do. But right now,
No.
at least he's answering the questions. He's hitting hard. You feel me? And he's not ducking the work. I wouldn't say that she did a good job. I would say that she's basically repeating, like you said, the speaking points she's been running with, and her capacity to hold a real conversation is really not there. We could clearly see it.
But at the end of the day, she ain't dropped the package. Her job was to go up there, say what she's supposed to say, keep it simple, throw a couple jabs here and there, pivot what she need to. Trump won this debate for one reason and one reason only, if nothing else. That man kept his calm the whole time. When you seen, he was like, "No, that's a lie." You seen him wanting to come out of his pot. He wanted to come out of character so bad, but he held it the whole time.
Now let
me her get under the skin. He was in touch with a star player. That's it.
Yeah, he's in touch with a star player. That's a very
It's
good
crunch time in the U.S.
Very good way to put it. Right now, I will predict, right, Cowboy, that the polls is not going to be in her favor. You dig? I mean, just keeping it real. But they'll be able to change the numbers and shit. Just like they saying that these people is not eating motherfuckers up in Ohio yet. The people that's out there is the ones that's pumping that dope on them. It's not Trump making this news. He's just repeating what's out there. Now, I want to show people.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, I've been interrupt. This is what I'm gonna tell you. This is how you control the masses. You only control the masses for two things. That's fear and hope, right? Because if I scare the shit out of you and tell you if you do what I tell you to, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna listen, and by the time you start to ask the question, I've already got you in my hand. Now, what they're gonna do with these polls, bro, is that all of a sudden she went from like nothing to like being neck and neck. Because as long as the polls are fed to them, they're just neck and neck, no matter where it is. When it gets there, it'll be that much easier to push it on the whole mass of a cheat. Because you already saw it was neck and neck. So honestly, there's a possibility she could have won. So let's just, you know what? It is what it is. Instead of questioning it like they should. Because they're going to be so used to it. It's like what they say about a frog in boiling water.
Well,
you boil the water, throw him in there, you're jumping out. But you put him in there, boil the water, done.
The whole shit is fucked from the beginning because you got to look at it like this. She wasn't even selected. She was just, I mean, when the American people didn't select her, they just threw her at us.
And that's the threat to our democracy right there.
U.S. election campaigns as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump prepare to go head-to-head in a live debate. But timing couldn't be worse for Kamala Harris, with the vice president's mask slipping and her real character exposed. Sky News All-Stars James Morrow, Rita Panahi and Annalise Nielsen reveal the real Kamala Harris and delve into...
Now, I want to, the reason why I'm showing y'all this right now is because this was done before the debate. Now, check what happened. Tell me if you see anything familiar while you watch the debate.
Fresh polls that show the honeymoon is over for cackling Kamala. A bang. She was touted as the great hope for the Democrats after years of stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden. But with every public appearance, Kamala Harris's mask falls off inch by inch, reveals Sky News All-Star James Morrow.
How fake Kamala Harris is. Now, I'm going to play two clips for you of Kamala Harris giving the same speech to two different audiences. Have a listen and see if you can hear the difference in how she speaks to each group. First, here's Harris in Pittsburgh, PA.
Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time.
Some window and door companies have way too many people involved in the process. There's a man.
Now, here's Harris on the very same day, just 5 hours apart, speaking to another audience, this time in Detroit, Michigan.
You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week.
Don't lie, y'all.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
Sky
what
News
I always
All-Star
say,
Sophie
what I always
Ellsworth
say,
and
man.
Jack Houghton agree,
What I always
saying
say.
the American public...
If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. and smells like a duck, it still could be a chicken doing duck impersonations.
Are not stupid and can see that Kamala Harris is fake.
Well, I really think people can make up their
That's
own
crazy.
minds, no matter how much spin you try and put on.
Truth lady just joined the panel. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Walaikum salam.
Okay.
This.
After we play this, I'm going to tell you why I want you to come up here.
The American public
Yes,
is not
please.
stupid. So they will make up their own minds regardless of what they are told. But Kamala Harris is constantly under attack. She's known for her laughing, sometimes repeating her lines over and over again before they become tiresome. She giggles when she tries to avoid questions. So she's often ridiculed for her way of handling the media. And this is obviously a problem because she has done, as we know to date, very few media interviews apart from that one sit down to date that she did last
Because
week.
that was her job.
I think she has to be careful with the way that she puts her messages out there to the American public, because this is an easy way for the Republicans to criticize her.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And look, the only thing that it demonstrates is there is a degree of it being a little bit fake.
Yes.
And I do think it's a mistake to focus too much on it as being like this massive issue.
I got you on mute until you when you were about to say something, Cowboy, just take yourself off mute because there's a little bit of background noise.
With her just demonstrates it's kind of, how genuine are you? But there's also contradictions that emerge in her policies, such as from a border perspective, what she did with the current administration, which she is a part of. What is she going to do now? And to Sophie's point, if she doesn't bring herself forward to do some of these more critical interviews, and that's not what we saw last week with that CNN one, then these aren't probed. And we're kind of just living this lie that this person can shapeshift without criticism. You can't, draw any attention to it. Otherwise, you're the one who's being immoral.
And former Trump senior advisor Christian Whiten agrees, saying Kamala Harris's routine is wearing thin and even black voters are starting to see through the act.
Well, but Christian isn't like the whole debate, though. The heart of this issue about the microphones is that the Harris campaign is just dying for some moment where Trump even so much as exhales into an open mic so that she can do exactly what she did to Mike Pence in the 2020 debate and do the whole, excuse me, I'm speaking routine. And to the next day, there'll be everybody wearing T-shirts saying, excuse me, I'm speaking, and create kind of a viral moment. Is that really the Harris strategy and why they were so disappointed not to have those open mics?
I think that's a big part of it. The aggrieved black woman routine, which I think is wearing thin. I think the silent majority of Americans, including, frankly, black Americans, dislike that grandstanding. She accused Biden of being a segregationist because he had some slight concerns about forced busing, which was an issue here in the 1960s and 70s. But the other issue with the hot mics is they want Donald Trump to show up as he did against Biden in that first debate in 2020, where he really did come across as angry and, frankly, a little unpresidential, interrupting. And that debate was thought to be very crucial in his loss in 2020.
But as usual, the White House says there's nothing to see here.
Well, the contrast sparked this awkward moment at a media briefing with White House Secretary.
Yeah, I think the veil is being taken off of her, you know what I'm saying? And her popularity just dropped. We'll see what the fake polls are saying tomorrow. I think her popularity is gone. I don't think that she answered any questions correctly, and that's it. It's just that simple. But truthfully, go ahead. What you want to say?
This is why I say she did good. They kept her from doing interviews and kept her from being in the public eye for one reason, because they didn't want her to say one thing during one of them interviews and then they come back and bite them in the ass tonight. They needed to say what they wanted to say, present their message to a virgin ear. They needed to hear what she had to say to the structure, as opposed to the skipping here, skipping there, and then asking questions and following up. She might not remember. She might be as senile as Biden is, for all we know. Might be contagious.
What do y'all think about defunding the police, Truth Lady?
Defunding the police.
She did good. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. And I hate to even say that, because I hate to even say that, Oh, peace.
Every proposal that they have put up is crap. We as a people in this country really don't understand the machinations of what's going on. First of all, it's very important to note that she's a Divine Nine Boule sorority sister, number one. And all the most 99.999% of all the Black people in America who are going to vote for her, the first part, they're ignorant. They don't know nothing. They just voting identity because she's Black and they think we need a woman. But the women should remain silent in the churches. Nobody respects a country that's run by a woman. And Trump knows that. That's a fact. I don't care. People think, oh, we got a woman. No. Now, another thing, India. She's Indian. People got to pay attention to what's going on. Don't y'all see them in every part of our government? In New York City, they running NYCHA. The Indians are running NYCHA. They are running the polls. I worked for the BOE. They're all up in everything. They've infiltrated, and they're all connected. She went to an HBCU, but she's not Black. White people can go. Puerto Ricans can go there. Just because she went to one doesn't mean she's Black. She went where they would accept her. She couldn't get into Stanford. She's not that smart.
I think, truth lady, I think that she stole the Black woman's vote. But they constantly playing on the Black woman thing, right? But there's a lot of Black women in the country that's just not going no more.
Let's get into that. Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the point. You got to look at the HBCUs. They are running things. When the Senate took a knee that year, claiming that it was because of whoever got the knee on their neck, and that's not what it was about. It was all a setup. They just brought it on us slowly, so we believed it. But what they intended to do was to give the power over to the Boule Divine Nine, sororities, fraternities. It's a fact. Nobody don't want to talk about that. The Boules have done nothing.
She dropping gems right now.
Nothing for
Straight jewels.
Black people. They never, ever did a thing for Black people. That's not what they're for. They're for each other.
Hold up, let me ask you something. Was Martin Luther King Boule?
He was Prince Hall Mason too, but he learned just before he died, the night before, as a matter of fact, or the same night. That's why he said, I fear I have led my people into a burning house. He realized what was going to happen. He knew he was going to be killed. He knew it. Because they have a set of rules. Now, I'll just throw this in here. I'm not going to say much about it. I know a lot about their business because I've read their books. I know a lot of sisters. If you can Google this or put it on, go to YouTube and search it out. Women who are leaving, they're leaving the sororities, the Divine Nines. Says they're evil. It's wicked. They play technology. They have sex magic. All of this is going on underneath this. I have a grandchild who goes to Morgan State. He was a BLMer and all of that. After he got to Morgan State, now he's Muslim, and they just made him the head of the Muslim Student Association. And he sees now, he's on a campus, he sees how these boules work. Another thing, he gave how many millions of dollars to the HBCUs? And their dorms are falling apart. They don't have new books in their library. Professors are leaving. We got to pay attention. We don't pay attention to that type of stuff. Very, very important. What happened?
And you know what they're going to say when you complain about it?
Excuse me?
You know what they're going to say when you complain about it? You know what they're going to say when they complain about the conditions that them kids are living in? They're going to say, oh, well, you didn't fill out a paperwork. You didn't fill out a request.
They said, we'll pay, find an apartment or a place to live. They moved them all off campus in a couple of the campuses, Spelman, Morgan, a few of them. They moved them all.
Okay.
But my point is, they ain't giving up a dime of that money, Trump. That the HBCUs is looking out for each other, and that's it. If you're not down with the sorority and fraternity, or you're not affiliated, which means your parents went to the school or something like that, you asked out. You're not getting nothing. And black people got to pay attention. Does she sound good? What the? I'm gonna tell you something. I had a migraine. I was getting a migraine because I'm ready to cry. I thank God I did a little survey and I went around. Black people voting. They're not voting for her, but I went to Q page 2, and the people talking. I'm like, these people don't know nothing about politics. What are they talking about? Oh yeah, he's a convicted felon. That's just making black men vote for him.
Hey, hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for 1 second. 1 second.
Make sure you hit the like button too. I forgot. But ladies and gentlemen, at some
Tatum?
point when the pressure cooker,
it's Tatum. He's talking about this pressure cooker that this racial. Check it out.
I always said when the bill comes due, people ain't gonna like it.
Gentlemen, make sure you hit the like button too. I forgot. Good. But ladies and gentlemen, at some point when the pressure cooker gets too much pressure in it, it's gonna explode. At some point, when you start churning that butter, and they go, that butter done.
It's done.
You can only put so much pressure and do so much turning before black people start coming out and saying, look, enough is enough. I'm done playing games.
Hopefully.
And they going around, what is it, New York? They going around the city. I don't know if it's New York or not. They going around the city and saying black people hating on immigrants. And then at the bottom, it says nonsense and worse from people who should know better. What?
That's crazy.
I'm play the video. What?
That's crazy.
Did you just say to black people?
Play the video and shut up.
What you say to black people? We were not immigrants. We were enslaved and forced to come over here and work for free.
Facts.
Many of us.
Pause that for a minute. Pause that.
Most slaves. There's only a few slaves.
Listen,
true.
Tatum is funny. But anyway, what we was boiling frogs.
Yeah, he's funny.
You know a parable of the boiling frogs, that you put a frog in the water, turn on the heat, and he'll
I was just saying that right before you come on, honey.
You understand? They'll sit there until they, they don't have sense enough to jump out the pot. What he's saying is, we jumping out the pot.
Yeah.
A scuba diver must have went down there and told them, look, y'all, they cooking you. So, go ahead with him. I saw this.
Slaves that got a chance to work and make money. Harriet Tubman was one of them. But we were forced to come over here. America wasn't what America.
I'm gonna mute you up, Cal Breezy, because I can hear the background. Mike, so you gotta keep it on mute until you're about to speak. Let me
is today. We made America good enough for them to come over here and want to have a good life. We made their life better. We gave them a paradise, assisted in giving them a paradise where they could come over here for free. They don't get beat. They wasn't on a ship. They wasn't getting raped. You name it. They wasn't doing railroad in the middle of the summer with no regulations. Health insurance. I mean, they didn't have to fight to have guns, fight to vote. I'd have slapped one of y'all saying something stupid like this.
Talk.
They didn't do nothing to afford to be compared to black people. We had Jim Crow. What? And y'all just come through a gate and get everything that black people work for all these years for free in 30 minutes. We had 300 years. Y'all got 30 minutes. And y'all got everything black people should have had and to work hard to get.
Facts.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me. And I'm not really a black person. I love everybody equally. I believe in Jesus, and Jesus don't pick a color, somebody's skin color. But I tell you what you ain't gonna do. Y'all ain't finna play. Same thing with the gay stuff and the immigrant stuff. There was no gay water fountains. People didn't be enslaved and get discriminated against and say, you can't come in the cafe because you gay. Nobody did that to the gay people. Didn't have to do that. Black people literally couldn't go into a certain store. My grandmother told me she had to drink from a separate water fountain, had to eat at a restaurant. They had to go around the back of the restaurant. Gay people didn't have to go through that to get rights and stuff like that. Black people fought for that stuff. And then y'all piggybacking off of black people. All right, come on, let Auntie cook. Come on, Auntie.
She gonna cook too.
You don't hang no sign. about black people hating on immigrants, because black people ain't got no reason to hate on no immigrants.
Oh no, but the immigrants got
We
the reason to
everything
hate on
y'all
us.
are in there, son. Let me tell you something. You get them signs down. Anytime that Alderman Lawson and Jim Silverstein and what's that other?
C.J.
Can sit up
Lopez.
here and talk
Lopez.
about how they should get a hate crime bill because swatch sticks was in Ziploc bags in that community. They hung this in our community. We want it off the polls. We want that to be the beginning of a hate crime. And that organization, which is a white liberal organization, like in the words of Malcolm X, who told us what? That the white liberal is the worst enemy to the black man.
Come on, sister.
Coming up in here, acting like y'all representing some social justice.
Say that,
But all
sister.
along,
Blow back
all
on.
you're doing is trying to use black people
Say
to
that.
find a reason to make some money.
Say
Let me
that.
tell y'all something over there. We're done. The Democratic Party is done. You ain't gonna mess with us like
Y'all
this
gonna
no
abuse us.
more. I'm telling you what I'm
They
telling
get to
you.
abuse the black American.
Come in here and go clean it up. I'm telling you, the ones that have righteous heart, you leave the Democratic Party. Do just like
Please.
RFK Jr., just do like that Tulsa lady. You better get up out the Democratic Party. Save yourself, save your families, save your dignity, save your jobs, and save your seat. Because if y'all don't, we coming for your seat. We ain't taking this no more. We ain't taking no disrespect from a bunch of people who have broken into the country and now have completely broke the city, have completely broke the country, have completely disgraced the United States of America. America is a disgrace. And for the, oh my God, for the solution, you give us a fake, black, cackling hand.
Wow.
Other candidates.
Wow, right.
With a vice president that's talking about he want to put tampons in the
A cackling idiot.
with a vice president that's talking about he want to put tampons in the boys' bathroom. The number one function of a president is to be the commander-in-chief. You tell me anything about a Kamala Harris that look like she can protect this country after y'all have sat up here and let it get overridden with a bunch of illegal immigrants.
Tell it, girl.
Y'all have sat up here and put America's hands in all kind of wars. And you telling me a tampon man that ran from duty don't even
A tampon man.
know what his rule was. Kamala
And from duty.
Harris, who don't know what race she is, gonna protect this country? The devil
You know when she start lying?
is a lie.
I see them Democrats real quiet right now.
Yeah,
Y'all better
let the
get them
women
signs down.
remain silent in the churches, girl. She's telling it now. That's what she's telling. That's
know
what
that.
She's talking.
We have to have.
She's talking for real, for real. Look at his hairline.
She said a word. She said a word. She don't want the whole country need to hear that. And I've been spreading it around. I think I done shared that over 100 times.
Man.
Over 100 times. Because she said it. She said it in a nutshell. And then another time she even mentions, she don't say Boule, but she talk about the affiliated ones. She talking about it. We are not affiliated with that. It's not for us. The Prince Hall Mason.
Okay,
See,
now.
this includes Farrakhan too, because he's a Prince Hall Mason. What are they doing? They're only helping each other. They are not doing. Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, he did have farms. He had fields of food. He had a contract with Peru and the whitey H&G fish. He was doing something. They're not doing nothing. Nothing. Show me what they're doing. Only for themselves in their little pockets in small little communities. Here they go with that paper under their arm. But they're not doing anything for the hood. We have to, okay, I respect you. Well, what are you going to do for us? Just like we got to ask the candidates for presidency. Also, the most important elections are our local elections. We should be putting the judges where they at. They're the ones locking our sons up. So
Well,
we
I've
should
been hearing a lot of that lately. That we should be voting locally and
Local voting is important. Who is your senator? Who is your congressman? Who is your mayor? Who is your community leader? Some people have city councils, or whatever they use to come to represent themselves. We have to understand that America is 50 countries, states, and we are United States of America. We are United of America. We're not the United States Corporation. We are the United States of America. We have to learn these things. This is how we got Biden and Kamala. And they stole the election. That's obvious. And all the people that think they won, I mean, like, they need their heads examined. Why don't you just say, I don't know anything about politics. I don't understand. I haven't been following it. Say the truth. Say, I'm like, well, Cuba Del Bronx said the truth. He said, I'm voting up for her because she's a black woman.
Let me say this. Speaking of Cuba Del Bronx, right now, we have, okay, I gotta remind people, right, and I need y'all to listen to this, that these conversations is designed to bring us together. We're supposed to be, that's what it's supposed to be, but it ends up being some shit where you have liberals that want to move the goalpost. They don't want to let you speak and stuff like that. Now, shout outs to Cuba Del Bronx and Black to the Pete. Now, I'm gonna let you show you our video. Truth Lady was on my brother's panel, and they very Democrat over there, right? And I think she was trying to bring some regular points. Dude, I wanted to let y'all play the exchange of what happened. And y'all, Cuba, if you're here, hit the link. You know what I'm saying? So we can talk about this to see why we can't have a conversation and why it always turns out to be this. Check it out.
There you go.
Why y'all smoking bad dope?
I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna let Truth Lady speak. I'm gonna mute my.
Oh boy.
Assalamu alaikum, Truth Lady.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. First of all, I want to say I don't understand how nobody knows what's going on. Are you just starting to pay attention? We've been paying attention since 2012, since Obama was the president. You gotta look at the stock market. You gotta look at the war machine. You gotta look at everything. You can't just look at one thing. And Kamala haven't done a damn thing. Nothing. There's nothing you can put to her. She can't even compose a sentence. She can't even have a conversation or and include herself in a debate.
She's about to have debate. She's smarter than Trump. Trump don't make no sense.
Wow. Yeah, this.
Okay, hold on.
She just had rallies every week, every day for the last 3 weeks, and she's been speaking at them all. How she can't hold
what has she been saying? What
Trump been saying? Trump been speaking about her all the time.
She's been speaking the same speech that was written. That's what Donald Trump does.
Not gonna let you talk.
Facts of the matter.
Nah, do you? I'm gonna be quiet.
Look, Black to the P. The facts of the matter is that 3 weeks ago, when she didn't have no money, right? She couldn't get 2,000 people in her rally, right? And now she cashed that. Listen, understand how much money she spent. She spent $70 million. We can't speak. We can't speak. We got to fight to speak all the time.
$1 million. That's right.
On security, bro. She spent millions on entertainers to come there, my dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people hear her. That's how you see. And they're lined up by popularity. They're lined up even neck to neck, even with all that money she got. Bro, the money is running out. And she doesn't answer questions. She doesn't sit in front of somebody.
That's bullshit. She just did a CNN.
If you want to pull up, bro.
What she says makes sense to you? That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
What Trump says makes sense to you?
Okay, pull up anything she said. Pull up anything.
Look. Listen, I'll explain. Let me show you how the geniality of this argument, right? At one point,
not trolling, man.
I'm not what?
I said we're not trolling, but go ahead.
You see what I'm saying? This is what Democrats do, right? I'm giving you facts. You either going to overtalk me or you're going to disrespect me. You know what I'm saying? Or call me or say I don't know something when I'm telling you facts. When you say
what's the facts? Yo, but you gotta have the receipts for the facts.
See, the facts is this. The facts is this. I'm about to tell you. The genius. You know what it is? You can't handle what I'm gonna say because it is a fact, right? genealogy of this conversation comes from here. There was a point where y'all saying that Trump is not speaking about policy, but yet he's speaking. Yet he's answering questions. And this didn't just start, right? And the fact is that y'all saying that he sounds like a broken recorder. You want to know why? Under his advisors, speak only about policy. So everything that he says is policy related. If you're talking about a rebuttal or a
so Hannibal is policy related.
If
So
you're
he's
talking
talking
about
the
a
water.
rebuttal, if you're talking about a rebuttal or a remark, it's traditional during presidential debates and campaigns to make reference and
short.
back up.
That's right.
Short.
They won't let us finish the sentence.
Don't agree.
If y'all believe Trump over this shit,
I can't say what I'm saying.
I just
I
disagree.
got a question.
You want to know why you disagree? Hold up. You want to know why you
Because
disagree?
I disagree.
Because no, you want to know why you disagree? Because
I know why I disagree.
You wouldn't even let me land it. So
You telling me why? You telling me? Do I know? Do you want me to tell you why I disagree? I know why.
Black to the P. I wasn't finished landing my point for you to disagree yet. Everything
told
you just
that.
said, I just said was facts. Under advisory of his, listen, under his advisors, right? They said don't attack anything personal, kind of lay off of that, and speak about policy only, right? That was under his advisors. And so when y'all was saying that he's not speaking about policy, he was actually speaking about policy. While Kamala doesn't even give us enough content to fucking remark to, because she doesn't.
Right.
It's only in a controlled environment under a bunch of money.
What politics speaking about?
Bro,
First of all, she was a
hold on.
Hold on.
I'm out, cool. I'm out, cool.
First of all, she's the Divine Nine. She's the Divine Nine sorority sister. That's number one. Number two, that's why all these black women, the sisters, and all of these paid shills like D.L. Hewley and the rest of them, they was paid to support her. They were paid to support her. She was involved in sex trafficking. That's why she didn't stop that border. She was the border czar.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof at? Where's the proof on that?
On what? She's the vice president. She's the vice president. You gotta look up what are the duties of the vice president.
I don't know what you're talking about. Truthfully. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, listen, she's the
You
vice
saying that
president.
she doesn't speak. Donald Trump makes sense.
Yeah.
When does he drop and say, "Oh, this is the policy"? Or he says, "Oh, she's not black enough."
No, he says, we're going to do this and that. He says it. I don't know if you're watching or listening. I don't know what
I'm watching. I listen.
You're not. You're watching television, the news. You're not watching the actual rallies. You got to watch the actual rallies.
Oh, so you don't see me putting up the live stream of the rallies and everything? You don't see that then?
No, I haven't seen it. I
watch all.
I'm on your page.
Hey, yo, Black to P, pull back up, bro. Why Black to P left?
No, he said, look, the question is simple. It's just simple question. Name one of his policies. If he talk about his policy, name one of them.
One of his policies is that he wants
the border policy.
The border. He does.
Let us answer no questions, none. And why do you think it's like that, Truth Lady? Why they can't hear nothing that we have to say at all? They can't hear us.
Boy, this is what you call cognitive dissonance. You know, first of all, you have to start out having a basic knowledge of, in this case, politics. You have to have a basic knowledge. So, I mean, I'm telling you, that's the vice president's job. She could, just like Trump said tonight, she could have gone over to the White House or the Capitol building and signed something. You don't need a bill. You tell them that we're going to shut the border down.
Simple.
Vice president. And so, like, we got to argue about that. I'm not doing that. I am not debating facts. If, can you prove that? Yes, I can prove it.
By design, that's a job description. What the fuck?
You understand what I'm saying?
It's like you working at McDonald's and somebody surprised that you flipping burgers. You know what I'm saying? Or if a burger needs to be made and you're working at McDonald's, who the fuck is gonna make the burger? You think the customer's gonna come in and make the burger? No, that's your job. That's your job description is to flip the burger.
If people, this is what we have to do. Just try this for 2 or 3 days. With the knowledge in your mind that she's a divine 9 sororities, Boule sorority. And she got the frats, all of them brothers, all DL, Hewley, Diddy, all of them. I just heard through the grapevine.
Wait, you said Diddy?
That what's his name? Math Hoffa just got inducted into the Masonry. I just heard that. Cause see, I got my finger on it. Believe that. Because I know of a lot of damage they've done in neighborhoods.
Get back to Diddy.
All right, it's a lot. I could go. I mean, I'm not gonna talk too much because they will be knocking on my door. Trust and know, they should not be in that White House. If they get in that White House, might as well move to Canada some damn where.
Yeah, it's time to go after that.
It's time to go for real. People don't understand what communism is. She's a Marxist. Did she deny that? Did she deny when he said her father's a Marxist, she's a Marxist? Did she deny it?
Nope.
Understand what the Boule is. Greek society. Exactly what they're about. And they're about each other. They look out for, just like those Zionists, the Zionists who if people don't understand that, they're talking about, why are they bombing Palestine? And why isn't America this and that? Every American president, even Trump, I understand, I heard it what Trump did too, signed the Noahide law. Now that's what I need everybody to do some research on. Noahide law. Noahide law is kill all Gentiles, non-Jews, kill them all. They started in Palestine. People had to wake up. You know how many of our politicians claim to be Zionists? Didn't Biden say out his mouth? Now I have to prove that. Print up the clip. Hold on. Pull up. Wait a minute. Pull up the clip where he says, I'm a Zionist. You don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. And understand what the Noahide law is. That's why you got real Jews fighting against that. Real Jews are afraid. They know these Zionists going to get them killed. People going to be killing them. They're not going to go down without fighting. And they already did it. They're in our schools. They're in the prisons. They run in the prison industry. They run in the pharmaceuticals. We can understand. They run them GMOs. They run NASA, the fake went to the moon program. Like we are living in, the Quran says it. This world is but an illusion. And that's a fact. People say, oh yeah, it's not real. They got this going on, whatever words they want to call it, the Mandela effect or whatever you want to call it. Because they playing with your reality. Because you're not keeping up. You're worrying about what sneaker coming out. And who won the battle rap. We stuck. And it's scary. It's scary. For people who are woke, it's scary. And I'm gonna exclude the NOI because y'all got the power and y'all not doing nothing.
Word, man. But listen, hold up. Truth lady, you coming in way too hot. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My sister. Okay, now, because they hunting me down. You know that they this constant. we gonna get back to that in 1 second, right? And I think that you did answer the question about why we can't have these questions. And what she describes is the same thing everybody that's on the right goes through. We get a lot of that moving the goalposts. Now, I just want to push something real quick. It's a 6-minute clip. And did you hear about the 20,000 Haitians that just got dropped off in Ohio and what they doing?
Oh, Springfield, Ohio. I got that call in the wee hours of the morning. I said,
now, I don't know how to read this yet because nobody personally has came to me and told me about this shit. To show y'all what I've been seeing, y'all.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm a Trump supporter, but she giving me whole Karen vibes real quick.
But no, you gotta hear her out.
All right.
We're trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the
Double tap the screen. Let's get the likes up real quick, man. Matter of fact, don't even worry.
best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me. I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly. And last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status and you're protecting them. And I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please give me a reason to stay.
You guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... They flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background.
Gotta be.
You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them and it's going to get bigger and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Y'all need to put on a t-shirt and some Crocs, and then y'all need to come out here in these streets and y'all need to go out here and I'm out here before the police is. Like, y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's crazy, bro. That's where they come from and that's what they do. That's their country. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they can't do that over here. And if y'all just getting paid from it and then y'all ain't doing nothing about it, I think that's super weird, bro. Y'all got to stand on business. Y'all got to really, like, step up. Like, it's lame, bro. Like, for real.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Driving around Springfield, I was looking at the giant holes in some of our buildings. I noticed all of the old familiar spots bearing new signs in an unfamiliar language. I watched as groups of strangers walked around the city like lost tourists, and it was like a punch in the gut. A terrible sadness came over me, and I began to cry. I immediately started to think back to when I was little, walking from my grandma's house on South Fountain through downtown and all the way to Snyder Park. I feel like we have been invaded by some sort of pest. I'm angry that my friends and
I ain't gonna lie, man. I've seen worse in my hood.
family are packing up and moving away.
Motherfuckers eating rats.
I'm angry that
and doodle off the floor.
foreigners are using up the resources that were set up for the Americans that reside here. I'm angry that another
I get it. You gotta pay, you know what I'm saying? Like, you paying to live like that?
country's flag was being flown in our city. I'm angry when I see our businesses and recreational areas littered with garbage left by people that do not know or understand our laws and culture and are making no attempt to learn about them. And let me be clear, this is not about race. This is about people being given the privilege of coming here from another country and having no respect for our people, our land, or our life's work. People living their life here the way they did in Haiti, angry, stealing, polluting, living in filth, and acting like animals. These are not civilized people. Opening containers in our grocery stores, helping themselves to what's inside and throwing the rest onto the shelves and floors. Pulling off of the highway to publicly clean and gut the roadkill lying there in front of anyone that passes by. Stealing animals from farmers and leaving their severed heads at the side of an old school where children play. Relieving themselves in public. Making some barbaric stew.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. While I was listening to this, I was actually looking up Haitian eating duck and dogs in Ohio, Springfield. I couldn't find nothing.
Out of the birds that live in our park. This is insanity, and it has to stop. What will become of Springfield? Where will we be in 5 years? The thought terrifies me.
There have been firsthand reports of wrong-way drivers on one-way streets, drivers ignoring stop signs and red lights and other traffic issues. There is the impact on businesses having to deal with language, cultural differences. There is the strain on public resources, both governmental and private services, including health.
I'm taking my cart down the grocery aisle, and I have 3 immigrants strapped across the aisle. Seen me coming, would not budge, wouldn't even, and I said, excuse me. Maybe they didn't understand what I was saying, but I'm sure they understood that I was trying to get through that aisle. So I have no recourse now but to bust through it. I'm not afraid to do so. You know, I would like to
Yeah, shoot him, Captain Obvious. Just clap him.
see them have some common respect, some common decency. Do not try to bully your way through Springfield, Ohio. It's not going to work out well.
Having thousands of new immigrant neighbors move into our city during the past few years has been stressful and overwhelming, but I am hopeful for a shared future with them. Speaking from personal experience, our Haitian neighbors and other newcomers I have met have been kind.
Sound like they tired of these motherfuckers. Sound like they got their mind made up. Truth Lady, hold the floor down for 1 second. I gotta refresh my screen.
Okay. I guess you say hold it down, hold it down. Oh. I want you to get to the point what black people need to do in this country. And I'm specifying black people because since they're into identity politics. So they got to see, okay, is this black person the best thing for them? Is this the best candidate? Let's see. They're not going to let that get into the media. True, they're not going to let it get into the media, but we're the media. We are the news now. We are the news. You got to start thinking like that. We are the news now. Since we already proved they're fake news. Yeah, I agree.
That was the end of the video. That's why. There was literally just 10 seconds left. So I skipped it. You dig?
Anyway, you know what I wanted to also bring up?
Right.
Meanwhile, all this is going on. And, I'm watching people go to put their kids on a school bus in the morning, and I'm going to the supermarket and I'm seeing people just like me, put that back, put that back, put that back. Just can't afford it. And like, I don't understand the people, like, did you leave the country while Trump was the president? Because, I had money in my pocket at the end of the month. I still had money in my pocket. I don't understand. I don't understand the love for Kamala Harris. And after they got in, what did they do?
It's feelings. It's feelings. They trigger in feelings.
And that's all. Nobody's using their head. It's time to educate. It's the time for the re-education of the American people. You have to re-educate. Another thing. This is very important. And I noticed. I said, "Wow, the people." I know I've written this. I don't know how many times in comment sections. 8 black men started the Republican Party and went to Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, and he joined them. And that's what that was right. What started everything in this country? We're abolitionists working, but that's when
they called them communists at that time.
Right. But see, she's a real communist. People need to learn what is Marxism. Look it up. I mean, like people like Cuba's a communist country. Why are people trying to get the hell out of there? If it's such a great thing, communism. Communism means that everybody will get a check for let's make one up, $1,600 a month. Everybody gonna get that. I don't care if you have 8 kids or 4 kids. That's what it's not gonna be according to the size of your family. Basic income, a basic income for everybody. You're not gonna be able to make no money. It's just not gonna be about, well, some people say pulling up by bootstraps. You're not even gonna be able to do that.
I want to say something.
So it's scary when you say you voting for Kamala. You scare me.
Now,
you scare me.
I want to say something, right? When people say that they voted for her too, it scares the fuck out of me too, because they be so invested into their feelings. You want to know why? Because when you engage in conversation, they refer to their feelings on how they hate Trump. They don't really talk about anything we talk about. Now, right now, the David and Red Dot are doing a review of past. This is the same people that just interviewed. I mean, that just hosted the debate.
Here now.
I think the whole shit was rigged, but let me hear what they got to say.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis.
My bad.
This debate, Vice President Kamala Harris choosing the podium on the right side of the debate stage. The candidates' microphones will only be.
Listen, I thought what they was doing right now was speaking on it. You know what I'm saying? Because they live right now. Let me see. Who's speaking?
Oh, they're live right now talking about. They're talking about that soon afterwards.
No, that's not. No, they just replaying it. They're replaying it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's live. It's live. There's 71,000 people here right now, but I don't know if they I think they're replaying it. Let me see. It looked like it was a replay, unless I was catching it from the beginning.
Be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National.
Well, people are saying Trump is winning. Everybody in this shit say Trump.
Yeah, I saw that. I got it up on my screen. Got it on the
statement of the evening.
I think this is an obvious W. You know what I'm saying? This is an obvious win. You know.
But the thing about it is this. Oh my God, this is so crazy, because these are the BLMers, the people who believed all of that stuff going on. But you can't get them to understand that all of this is symbolism, because it's Boulets and it's Masons and it's all it's symbolic. I saw you pull up the gematria thing the other night. Didn't you pull that up? I said, oh, he done started.
Yeah, I can't go too far in the rabbit hole, because then when I get into
that is a rabbit hole.
What happens is I get unfocused. Like, I'm talking about real life. Like, I just start seeing everything with numbers.
Right.
And I start seeing
it's 11. You seeing the number 11? You seeing the double ones with the Belahi min shaitan regime. Remember what Allah say in that Quran. Don't be never ashamed, baby. No shame in my game about my Islam. So all y'all need to get up on that. Get up on the truth. How could you stop at that book? And another book came. And let's talk about what Jesus has said to them when they said, didn't we pray in your name? Did we heal the people in your name? He said, depart from me, ye that commit iniquity. Look it up. What's iniquity? They found that they pray, they worship in him, not God. And then he also told them that he was not the comforter, that the comforter will come. Then we got to talk about
the east.
You understand? Let's not play. I mean, like, add 2 and 2. I'm not here to argue with people or anything. I state the truth, and that's it. If you don't accept it, you don't accept it. I understand that Quran also said there are those who will not believe no matter what you say to them. So I'm not trying to argue with you and yell louder than you and convince you of anything.
He says that they put a veil on their eyes, their heart. You know what I'm saying?
I was going right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Take it. Go. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Queen. Go ahead.
No, it's just it's time. It's time for us to stop playing games, you know. And it's sad to me watching. I'm not talking to like I don't want to sound, you know, like I'm talking down on anybody. But I want all of these brothers. They call themselves these sectors. That's some new crap. YouTube been here for years. They just jumped on. They could have divided it into sectors. What kind of mentality would make a black man come on a platform like YouTube and decide they want to divide themselves again? Like, what's the reason for the division? I don't get it. I'm better. I'm the first one. I'm this. No, you're not.
But
Trust me,
look, sister. The thing is, I think that we know the poisons. You know what I'm saying? We know the poison. I think that what we do though, because I say we because we care.
Ignore the fact that the jinn,
sister. The A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. The jinn, serious.
They run this. They run the air. They you know, they run the airways.
Listen. And music. And music. Hold up. Let's go somewhere real quick.
Yes, man. Yes, brother.
Let me just show y'all something. This is Candace Owens. Oh shit. She's having a field day.
You know they took her channel down. She gone. She gone. She gone.
She's live covering this a little while ago.
She was live on somebody.
Nah, she's up. She's up. I'm on the channel right now.
Something. You saw the interview with Rabbi Shmuley? Oh, she tore him up. He the top Jew, type Zionist. Him and Blinken. One of the top Zionist runners of this country. And we need to question all our candidates and all the people in our Congress and Senate. Are you a Zionist? Well, they have to be voted out. You cannot be a Zionist and be represent this country, because Zionism is against the people here. It's only for Zion. That's why they claiming they Zionists, even if they're not a Jew, because they know they intend to kill everybody else. We gotta wake up. All right. I hope they don't shut your channel down. Because trust me, the Truth Lady is one of the most censored and banned person on the internet. I don't talk much.
They don't. You know what I don't like, man? When you hit something that hurt their heart, they don't want to let you finish speaking. That's why I'm letting you go off right now, because I think that people are afraid. I think it's like somebody changing their religion with your political stance. You gotta think. At one point, I was out here banging for Obama. I was one of the vote or die people. You know what I'm saying? And I started paying attention maybe in 2015, 2014. You know what I mean? Before then, I was Obama, Democrat by default. I really didn't know shit. And I was a dangerous motherfucker. Because I think that's what they promote. They promote unaware, uneducated, emotionally driven people, you know, and namely black people, you know.
And then we don't eat right. Nothing's right going in our brains. That's why we having these thoughts and these words are coming out of our mouth, because we just ignore the fact that jinn whispering. We don't, you know, everybody got an accompanying jinn.
Okay, now for people that don't understand what the sister's saying, right? And let me get into this, because you know we're gonna go all the way around.
Yes,
right?
Please have to.
Now look, what she means that you have everybody has a jinn. We all assigned a good and a bad jinn, right?
And angels.
And humanity, right? In humanity, we have by Quran it says that man was made from the earth, right? In short terms, or a clot. It was called nutfa, and nutfa, and Arabic, right? And that's what we were created from. That's the first creation. The second creation ain't the angels. They were made from what we call Nur, right? Or light, right? And angels don't have a free will. That's why we don't believe that Satan was
angel, right?
Was an angel, right?
Yeah.
And then you have jinn. The jinn were created from a smokeless flame, right? And the jinn could actually materialize when before. Okay, we getting into the music thing, right? Back in the day, the music was so-called blessed. 808s, reel to reels, all of these things were blessed, or what we call demonic drums played into the fucking actual tapes. So when you were playing the tapes, a lot of time y'all was playing some devilish shit. Some you was victims of subliminal advertisement. What they used to call it was
subliminal messages, and then like you going there for me now. All right, let's
before you get into the music, Queen. Let me just play a little something.
I wanted to get in what you said.
Okay, go ahead.
About the drums and the under. You talk about like the subliminal message underneath it. Also, the television did it. That because everybody it wasn't at a time there was no internet. It was all on television. So it's about the tuning and all that.
The static. You remember the static you used to see in the movies and all that?
And Hitler reprogrammed. He had all the instruments in the world are retuned from the healing hertz of 432 to 440, which is harmful to all life form. And so this is why I be saying to these, that's why I'm in the rap thing, because you all as you is you, because I'm trying to wake them up. If you gonna rap, if you gonna sit up in there and make beats, make sure you retune your box to 432 hertz.
Whoa.
Nobody's not listening to me. So
wow.
that way, that's one way you could fight it, because the music is that negative thing. It's like for instance, you could go to sleep, do an experiment. Let them all do that. Go find you the verse. Go find you Surah Yasin. And listen to that before you go to bed.
Let me explain something. Yasin, before y'all go and take this sister's advice, I'm gonna remind y'all that Yasin is the one of the scariest surahs or scariest chapters in the Quran to me. Yasin.
And the subconscious mind understand the language while you're sleeping.
Let them know what you get out of Yasin when they go to Yasin.
Oh, when you're gonna figure out a lot of things. First of all, like the fake world that they got built around us, to my UFOs. When Allah said that this is a clear and complete book, so everything is in it. And it is, we talk about Yajuj and Majuj, Gog and Magog in the Bible and Book of Revelation. That's who they're talking about, Yajuj and Majuj. Allah explain it a little bit clearer for you without all of the metaphors that the Book of Revelation talking about, angels flying with wings and horses and stuff. So he explains it very clearly in Yasin. Also, you'll learn about whether the earth is flat or, people argue.
He knew that Baphomet, transgenderism, this deity that represents to be contractually.
That's you.
I want to say something about this music and this transgender shit and all of this this. Give me 1 second, Queen.
Yeah. Okay.
Bound to any person at all.
Okay.
So I'll ask the question, especially when you hear Tentacion speaking about Baphomet, right? You hear Cat Williams, as we have shown you many times on the show, who also said that he knew that Baphomet, transgenderism, this deity that represents transgenderism, was going to be a thing in Hollywood, that he knew they were going to start pushing this down the pipeline to the masses. I will ask you, when does this stop being a conspiracy theory? When do people start listening to the many artists who are trying to...
Double tap screen, can we get the likes up or go to the top?
I got something to say about that kid, CEO. She's scared of me, but anyway, I love her. I love her because she's a God.
Speak out.
My bad.
Go ahead. Let's finish it.
And saying that they are being controlled, that they're being told what they have to sell to the public, or else Some of them are saying their lives will be put into danger or they will lose everything financially. When do you stop believing the media that all of these people are crazy, that all of these people are lying, and that they are producing this stuff out of their own free will, and begin to instead start asking meaningful questions? I will conclude this by saying what I always tell you, is that Hollywood was intentionally designed as an attack on our spirit. There are spiritual forces at play. They are creating false idols, and they are dragging people further and further into the perverse. So don't have idols in Hollywood, okay? Because there shouldn't be idols, period. If you read the Bible, idolatry is an evil for a reason. Have faith in Christ and Christ alone. And that's all I'm going to say on that. All right, guys, it seems appropriate after speaking to that we immediately pivot to speaking about Hallow. If you want to get started on your journey, I know people, if you haven't been praying for a while, you don't know how to begin. I'm telling you, just start speaking to God. But also, if you download the Hallow app, it can help guide you. And it will guide you in your prayer routine. A great way to do that is by engaging with the #1 Catholic app in the world and diving deeper and exploring your prayer life. They have thousands of prayers, meditations, and music, including new contemplative and contemporary Christian radio that you can listen to anywhere and anytime. This summer, Hallow has a number of powerful prayer challenges and scripture series that they are thinking about replacing Biden with Newsom. And when you look at all of the laws that Gavin Newsom has signed into law, all the bills that he has signed into law, it would be terrifying if he replaced Biden and somehow Biden assumed the presidency. Well, let me tell you what he's recently signed into law. It is a bill that bans schools from notifying parents about student gender identity.
Ban schools from, news.
In California.
Signs a bill banning schools from notifying parents. So your son is in school, Sammy is in school acting like Samantha, and they're not supposed to tell. Don't you think there's a mental issue going on if your son goes to school? Yeah.
Got our kids in these schools, and they don't know what they're teaching them. They drop them off and go on where they're going and come back and pick them up, and they don't, do your homework. Sit down, like don't get up into that head of what's going on in the classroom. Look at the books they bringing home. I mean, are they bringing any books home?
Not me. I go all through this, and this is why I conclude that my children, the education needs to come from something other than public school. Because I ain't gonna lie to you. And just a half-ass good parent is teaching their kids way more shit than they learn in funky ass schools. Them schools is terrible.
That's another thing. I realize that a lot of people don't have teachers. Some kids, I look at some teachers. I know some people who tutor and teach, and they shouldn't be teachers. They don't know how to talk to children. They don't know how to teach. But that's something we need to do in each community. We need to find the ones who can educate our children. And if we have to pay the person and all that, buy the child's disc and bring it with you. You understand? Something got to be done on that now, because they have the Kamalas. They are changing the schools, tampons in the boy bathroom, and all kinds of stuff.
You know what I think? I think that when you're of age, you should be able to make whatever decision you want to make, right? But when you're a child, I think that you do the child an injustice by letting them just make any decision they want for themselves. Because think about it. 4 years later, 5 years later, or sometime in the future, or maybe the next day, or right after it happens, they regret that decision. So I think that they're not capable of making such a permanent decision.
Yeah, they should talk about them suicides ain't all military veterans. A lot of them is transgendered people who had their little wee-wees cut off. And a lot of, I haven't heard about, but just one female. She committed suicide because she can no longer have children, and her breast, she had a mastectomy, double mastectomy. So when she got in her 20s, late 20s, she went into a serious state of depression and all. I mean, like, I could send you at least 100 videos of different transgenders that are regretting it, and they're making videos. They're saying, don't let your children do it. Pay attention to what's going on. They're wanting people. Nobody don't want to. They want to argue about who's the best rapper.
I think there's more transgenders that's fighting against it as opposed to trying.
Right, that's why. Because they realize that they made a mistake. Those are the ones who hold their brain. They're holding their mind together because they about to lose it too. But they already it's a no turnaround thing. You can't go back and get your penis back. You can't get it back.
Damn.
You understand? And it's a mutation. It's mutilation of the body. That's what it is. And that's what Satan likes. He likes mutilation.
It's a difference if you know even this I could see you know, like motherfuckers that's dressing, you know, like they dudes but they dressing like girls and shit like that. That's not a permanent decision. You feel me? Cutting your shit off is a permanent decision.
Yeah, it is for a woman because what they do is they remove her labia. They remove her labia and they create with that skin and fat from her body a penis and sew it on.
Oh, man's sake, you can't have one come back from having one of your. And speaking of Willie Brown, hold up, let me just finish playing this.
So we knew this was coming. We have been speaking to parents. I get messages all the time. Well, in California, we're not allowed to say no to vaccines. Okay, that means that the state is in control of your children. If they can decide what they're going to inject into your child and you have no say, they're in control. Well, now you don't even get to decide whether or not your child, who you know to be a boy or a girl, because you birthed them, is going to be referred to as a boy or a girl as they indoctrinate them in the public school.
Man, I ain't asking. Roski said I'm sexy, man. I ain't asking him nothing, Lansky.
School system. So let me cut to this video of Michael Schellenberger describing exactly what is going on with this bill. Take a listen.
Hey, everybody.
Me. Sexy. Knock it off.
It's Mike Schellenberger for Public.
Do I have to tell y'all? Nigga, you gay.
Nigga, you gay.
I'm afraid I have some terrible news. The governor of America's largest and richest state has just signed a law that puts 10 million children and adolescents in grave danger of medical mistreatment. The media headlines are all wrong. They claim that California Governor Gavin Newsom's new law protects children by stopping public schools from outing their gender to their parents. In fact, it does just the opposite of that. This new law makes children vulnerable to irreversible and lifelong medical abuse and mistreatment.
There we go.
And it's all based on a pseudoscientific idea that some children are born into the wrong bodies and that we can change a person's sex through drugs and surgery. Now, for any of this to make sense, you have to understand what's happening right now in Britain. Several years ago, the government there appointed a well-respected pediatrician named Hilary Cass to investigate whether it was ethical to block the puberty of children, give them opposite-sex hormones, and perform surgeries on their bodies in an effort to make them feel better about.
This is in addition to the obvious suicide rate
about their gender. Dr. Cass came back a few weeks ago and said, no, absolutely not. Around the same time, the British government banned puberty blockers nationwide. And just a few days ago, the new Labour Party government affirmed that it would maintain the former Conservative government's ban on puberty blockers. In her report, Cass said that so-called social transition, where a children adopts the identity of the opposite sex, is not a neutral act and has psychological consequences. In fact, it's the first
to
has psychological consequences.
We will not only just implant these ideas into your child's head, but after our ideas have taken a hold of your children, we will put them on a pathway of medical tyranny, which is in many circumstances, in most circumstances, irreversible. Once you start introducing hormones, puberty blockers, once you block your puberty, we have seen that these people, as he mentioned, will wind up down the line permanently impacted by that decision because these are the same drugs. And this is a fact. Lupron just got rebranded. The same drugs that are given to pedophiles in prison are the.
I'm glad she brought that up. Okay, yeah.
You want to speak about that?
No, I'm just saying I'm glad she brought that up. It's the same medications that they give to pedophiles in jail. That, you know, a couple of states is talking about castrating them and not giving them that medication.
Drugs that are given to children who believe that what they're doing is just blocking their puberty, when in fact it is given to those prisoners in order to castrate them. And so that's, of course, what they're doing to children. It's going to have the same impact. It's going to castrate children. Why is this being allowed? Well, we just showed you in monologue that there have been rappers speaking out about demonic agendas. They are talking explicitly, singers and performers, about Baphomet, comedians talking to you about Baphomet being an agenda. These people are here in Hollywood. These artists are here in Hollywood. These schools are surrounding Hollywood. California has become a dark experimentation state for the demonic. And I do not say the demonic in a fun, light way. Okay, Baphomet is a literal demon that these possessed people worship. And so I'm glad that that video went viral, and that was in large part due to Elon Musk sharing it, of Michael Schellenberger speaking about what was happening in California. And Elon Musk said this in response.
Elon Musk and J.D. Vance is some bad motherfuckers, man. This is the final straw. Because of this law and many others that preceded it, attacking both family companies.
I'm laughing because somebody just sent me a message. Like, why are you not telling them that you've been talking about this for 15 years on the internet? 15 years. I started on AOL, so it's really longer than that. AOL, the Truth Lady is on AOL. And when Facebook came, I was one of the first 500 people on Facebook. When YouTube started, I was one of the first 1,000 people that had a channel.
Wow.
So, and people used to laugh at me. What YouTube? What is YouTube? You post the stuff over YouTube, like it's an unbelievable. They didn't see the potential. So I started sharing it I have a lot of Facebook pages and groups. Muslim, Islamic ones geared to black women, just black people, and my profile page. And everybody know I don't play. I stay on point. Some people have seen pictures of me and say, "Oh wow, I've been your Facebook friend for so long and never saw your face." No, you don't need to see my face. It's the words you need to hear. You need to hear the words. And if I'm trying to be famous, that's the thing that she got to wiggle herself out of, Candace Owens.
Okay.
Because the women need to be quiet. You need to be quiet. Go home and take it. I love everything she's saying. But trust me, men can say that same thing. All right.
I think we have
killed the men. They killed the men that say that. Didn't they kill what's his name? That just came out and told the truth about black women and women in general.
Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels. They killed them. You understand? And they block Muslim women if they try to speak up. They give black.
They knock
it anyway. Oh, because she thinks she better. But let me tell you about a better way. Because she'll tell you about a better way. And then if there's 45 women to one man, and because it's really something like 50, 60, but even if half of them is gay, you still got 25, 30 women to one man. And that's a whole fact. And so just like it said, that in the end days, each man will be responsible for 40 women. Now, that may be your children, your daughters, your daughter-in-laws, your nieces, your aunts, your grandmothers, your mothers. It might be all kind of, different women. But that's what it's down to. That's why people like, what's her name? Shahrazad, is that her name? The sister of
Shahrazad Ali.
Yeah, she don't play. That's my girl. She say, "Well, I'm really a glossophobe. A glossophobe is a person who I really can't speak in public. See that my face ain't being. I could talk like I'm talking in my room. You know what I mean? But in front of people, my mouth just won't open. I freeze up. So she says exactly. If all black women need to read her book, whether you're Muslim or not. If you're a Christian, especially, you understand, we got to stop playing that game too. I don't play that game. I don't play that game. You need to cover your body. You need to learn about hair and energy. And them Indians over there cutting off their hair, selling it to you, and you putting it in your hair. We talking about chakras now in your body.
Oh, whoa, wait. I did show a documentary on the process and the ritual of these Indian women that go and supposedly donate this hair. What they do is sacrifice themselves, their hair. They line them up. They be in long ass lines up this mountain. They cut all of their fucking hair off, and then y'all put that whatever they got right on your body. That's crazy.
And because they're ignoring the same thing with ignoring the fact the presence of the jinn, ignoring the fact that there's chakras in the hair, ignoring the fact that GMO foods destroy your DNA. All of these things are important. And we raising up these kids, these kids today they ain't all there. You know, the cornbread is not done in the middle. You understand what I mean? It's deep. And people my age is like, you know, a lot of us is like scared. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. Trust to know I'm not afraid. Trust to know I'm not afraid to say the truth. I'm not going to stop saying the truth. All right. Now, if you're funny and I'll laugh. But if you're not funny and you're wrong or you vile or whatever, you know, the things that's going on the internet, especially on YouTube.
They normally get vile. With us.
And you know why? Because the jinn in YouTube is a narcissist jinn. Narcissism is just everybody's one. Almost everybody named mama on YouTube is a narcissist.
You know, so weird when I tell people that I believe I'm one. The people say, "Nah, if you think that about yourself, then you're not one." I'm like, how you know I'm not acting? You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that.
Well, I don't think so. It's hard for a Muslim who fear Allah, the wrath of Allah, to be a narcissist, a true narcissist. Like the best thing to do, like it would take hundreds of years to bring them down to earth if you ignored them. They need to get into therapy because NPD is real. Narcissists destroy other people's lives. That's what they do. That is their main purpose of living, to destroy. Then they come nice and smiling. You know, and a lot of them, to me, when I first started watching certain ones, I'm talking about across all kinds of genres, because I watched tiny house videos, gardening videos, all kinds of videos. All right, so that's why I'm banned, because see, the algorithm knows that. The algorithm knows I really don't make videos, but I make comments that they will remove out of people's chats and comment sections. They will remove my comments. All right, especially if I'm talking about things like 432 hertz under a music video. Now, I know you know Tom McDonald. Alhamdulillah, that brother changed all his stuff to 432. Who else? I got a few of these freelance music, who done made it to change their thing to 432, and they're being successful because they're getting off the 440. I'm trying to tell all these rappers with these beats this, but they don't get it, and that's why everything is befalling them. All this negativity. I was saying before, if you go to bed and listen to Yasin before you go to bed, write down how you feel in the morning. The next night, go to bed and listen to some rap, some. I call it nonsensical, but it's not always nonsensical. You understand? But I'm gonna say that, and see how you feel in the morning.
Now, hold on for truth, lady. Yeah. I wanna. Matter of fact, go ahead. Keep talking. Keep talking, Queen.
No, I just wanted to get that. That is very important. But and another thing, like, thank God, in a way, they don't teach music in schools anymore. They, you notice that a lot of them don't get any music programs in the schools. So if they do, the parents need to advocate for that, to change it to 432. Once you learn a thing, this is my own saying. Once a thing becomes known, it cannot become unknown again. So if I tell you that, and you send your child to school and he's in the music class, a school that got music still in the school, and you don't advocate for that, something wrong with you. Because we're talking about reality. We're talking about Shaitan and Allah. Satan and God. They want to argue about whether it's Yeshua or this or that. That's all, as if that's important. And if it is important, then you ought to find out why we call him Allah, and it's the last book. No book came after that. So if anybody that have any kind of sense, and I'm speaking specifically to Candace Owens, all right, you got sense and you got this knowledge and understanding. Why don't you study the councils of Constantinople, which is mentioned in Quran, Constantine? Look them up. Look up the councils of Nicaea. What was they doing? With all of these priests from all around the world in the room, changing the books and removing verses and changing all kind of stuff. I'm not making that up. But nobody ain't tampered with that Quran. That Quran is the same exact book that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent. Allah sent down to him. It's the same book.
It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed in more than 1,400 years.
1,400. And the point is this: people this is why I don't fully trust Candace. I don't fully trust her. Now she jumping on this. Now I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you go in her comment section. Go back a few years. As soon as she came on the scene, I jumped on her. I said, yeah, she going somewhere because her husband's white. She getting ready to da. I've been in there.
I think she's more like Trump. She's kind of like thinking about business, and you can feel it on. Now let me say this one thing.
Listen. She coming from a true place. That's what I'm gonna say. She coming from a true place, but she's afraid of every time I put the comments in there. Like I just posted this on Facebook the other day at Facebook because they keep banning and removing stuff, and I tell them clearly, I don't I'm just telling the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not making up anything up. They can't. If you claim you believe in God and you acknowledge Hollywood, if you acknowledge Hollywood, you got to acknowledge the television. You got to acknowledge the internet. You got to acknowledge Satan everywhere, not just in Hollywood. And see, this is what she does that bothers me. If that kind of stuff busts, it's Satan is in everywhere. He up in the fields now. The Chinese own millions of acres of American land.
No, they own all of Africa and the West Indies.
Damn near.
They own a lot of the infrastructure, the highways and shit like that. They use ACON to go to Africa and rob the whole fucking Africa with that fake Lighten Up Africa program.
And India and China is now in cahoots with each other.
Let me people going back to 432
Hertz.
Give me 1 second, Truth Lady.
I'm going to say this. With the word came God. Sound. Word, sound. He taught Adam utterance, words. He taught him the names of everything. He taught him the name. Adam didn't make them up. Adam didn't say grass going to be called grass. The law told him grass is grass. This is a squirrel. So like.
Give me 1 second, Queen. I'm
gonna play the resonance of B, and it is kun fire kun.
Kun fire kun. All right, give me
the resonance of that. And then the other day, Zip is something else. He gave one of the attributes. Ya Jalali Wali Ikram. Alhamdulillah. I've said, I remember that was one of the first things I learned, but I forgot it. And when he said that the other day, I said, wallahi, bruh. So he don't even know. He don't even know what he did that day. I ain't been back to a shop in something.
But I think that naturally happens when you like, let's say when you get around new people or you I'm talking new Muslims, they start to remind you of some things because they say some things. I go through that constantly.
Yeah, that's true. That
But
is so true. The new ones, the new like what's her name? Megan Rice, the one from the United Kingdom. I used to go up in her. She talked about God, and yeah, she's a beautiful, beautiful sister. She just took Shahada a few months ago. Alhamdulillah. Who I could name about 20, 30 people who was, some of them hated Muslims and hated Islam, and they Muslims today.
yeah, but I think they try to give me 1 second, truth lady.
We
I'm
got
like,
to recognize when somebody got it in them and help Allah, because only Allah can make a Muslim, you know.
we about to get, I gotta get ready to get up out of here because I'm kind of neglecting my house, my duties.
Ooh, don't do that.
12:39 is a good time, y'all. We got the truth lady in the building. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Inshallah, we could get us a little show going. And I do want you to do a panel. I want you to do your own panel. So hit my IG so we can talk about that. Inshallah.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. That's the truth lady. That's my sister, y'all, man. I could talk. I could listen to her all night. I did want to give her offer the opportunity to really land her points and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to let y'all hear some of this 432. This is what I used to put my kids to sleep with. I call this the calm before the storm because tomorrow I will be violating. But we let Venezuela Reyes up here to disturb the moment for a second.
Disturb what moment? You voted for a white guy, but you're black. Shit hit different. Shit hit different, bro. How could you do that, bro? Your ancestors will be crying right now, bro.
Mm-hmm. How you doing, man? How you doing, Venezuela?
Is she black?
Bro, I'm just asking. Can I ask first things first, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing black.
All right, what's your question?
Is she black?
No.
No?
She's white. Next
Come
question.
on. How is she white, bro? Did you see the bags under her eyes? She's not white, bro. Come on.
Bye. I don't remember her showing her face. Confucius says, crowded elevator smells different to a midget ass nigga named Venezuela. Especially if somebody passes gas. I literally feel strong now. Shit. Hold up. Watch you on YouTube, listen to 432 Hertz music. I was actually looking for, I typed up drill beat 2024. Less likely to slap a bitch. Making my neck loose. No freaky. Headphones on. It sounds like, I'm telling you, man, you might fall asleep listening to it. Definitely ain't church because nobody asked me for money yet. Cash App. $ Mac Main. Mac Main. Lady came in so hot. Man, she's dope, man. That's my sister, man. Man, I love her. I love the truth lady, man. Sound like a sister. All right. No more neglecting my duties. All right. Everybody that pulled up today, thank you. You know what I'm saying? To everybody. Cal Breezy, that's my boy. I know Cal Breezy for 20 years. 20 years. 40. All right. I'll see y'all soon, man. God's work.